around
Yeah.
around 80, 90 people. But where I am today on Facebook and where I was back then are two. It's like night and day.
Yeah.
This is where I like to be. I like to be, and now today, of course, because some of the other Facebook pages, I'm sort of, in a couple of them. But I mean, I was, considered the 22 shots, my first sort of little aquarium that I swim in. Then I might, jump out into a nearby aquarium, but they're still
Yeah.
aquariums.
Yeah.
Whether it's Bay of Blood or Cinematheque or um, the Watsy, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Um, I would rather live here than just live, I guess, out in the open ocean
Yeah.
of Facebook.
Yeah.
I would much rather live in an aquarium where things are closed, you get to know the people, and you basically, for the most part, just the only time that 22 shots gets irritating to me is when sometimes political discussions erupt.
Mm.
I hate it. I mean, I've gotten caught a few times on the trap, and I felt like, I'll say something, and then I'd be like 5 seconds later, I'm like, why are we even having these conversations? We ought to be just talking about horror.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, I mean, it's like this, like we're not recording this. We're not going to put this on the commentary, but because it's not the place for it. And it's the same, like unless it affects, the horror community directly, is a horror like group or whatever really the place for political discussion?
I don't think so.
No, I mean like there are political groups.
Because if everyone were to come out and be absolutely blunt, dead honest,
Mm.
I don't know what the ratio would be, but you're bound to have some that are very conservative. You're bound to have some that are very liberal,
Oh yeah.
and you're bound to have a bunch in the middle. But
I,
that stuff just does not really matter at all when we're talking about something that kind of glues us all together.
exactly.
I mean, I can be a conservative and enjoy horror to the utmost as much as someone who is a liberal who enjoys horror to the utmost.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
can both enjoy, and I mean, unless you're attacking Rob Zombie, I mean, I think it's Neil. Probably a good thing he didn't come out. I wish he would have. I think we would have fun. I don't know
it,
why
it would have been
people
interesting.
made us do something. Anyways, I'm gonna change out my drink real quick, and then we probably should get this started here soon.
Okay, cool.
All right, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I ran down to the grocery store today.
Yeah.
We have a small one just down the road called Kroger. and I was grabbing some. Friday's usually pizza night for the boys.
Mm.
So, but I thought, you know what? Just on the chance, I better grab some Mountain Dew Kickstarters.
Mm.
They got them, and they got them there at that Kroger for like just $1 a can, which is nice. So I grabbed a couple, which is nice because I'm getting old. These late nights aren't easy.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just see my wife just texted me. I'm surprised she hasn't gotten home yet.
Mm.
She's usually home by now. Just hold on, just responding to her.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, you ready? You ready for the intro?
Yeah. Okay, and
Now it is episode 12, right?
yeah.
Pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yep, it's recording, so.
3, 2, 1. Hey guys, Rob from Georgia, aka VHS82 apostrophe here with you, and joining me not too far from the great land of Canada, Glenn, aka BDG Reviews, along
Yep.
with Will and the Don. They are the hosts of the one and only Bay of Blood podcast. And as well, Body Bags is in the house. We're fresh off our 11th Black and White Nights commentaries, rolling on into episode 12 as we look into Mr. Rob Zombie's not so hated Halloween 2 from 2009. So get your zombie vibe on. Forget that 2018 ever happened. Grab your snacks and wipe the color off your freaking TV sets and settle back for what ought to be one hell of an entertaining evening. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Not much.
That reminds me, I need to get the color off my freaking TV set. I usually have already pre-done that, but
Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, the menu alone looks really good. You
I'm
know.
about to see here in a second here. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah. All right. It does look pretty good.
Yeah. So who knows? This might be the one that, that is like the game changer.
Only thing that sucks is people are gonna have to take our word for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of wish we had Don on here. How do you not have H2 in your collection? I mean, not even because it's Rob Zombie, but it's a Halloween film, and you ought to have the whole franchise, whether you like certain, whatever, but who doesn't have H2 in their collection? I mean, this is. Um, so anyway, so I was thinking about this. So we are looking at Rob Zombie's much maligned, much hated, much not accepted entry into the Halloween franchise. Hopefully, together we may say a few things tonight that might, get someone out in the audience who's decided to run our commentary along with their viewing. Um, Maybe change a mind or two, if not maybe not with the purpose of getting someone to love this movie when maybe they hated it, but at least to see it with maybe a little bit more of an objective eye.
Yeah. I mean, it's the sort of thing I know a lot of people really don't like this movie. And I mean, I get their reasoning, but it's not a bad movie. You know.
Well, let me before we get started and everything,
Mm.
we can just kind of throw a few things back and forth. But let me throw this at you.
Yeah.
This is a quote from Lucio Fulci.
Mhm.
It won't be in it quite in its entirety, but you'll get the everyone will get the vibe. Here we go. Fulci said, and I think this was just after the release of the Beyond.
Mhm.
He said, "People who blame the Beyond for its lack of story have not understood that it's a film of images, which must be received without any reflection. They say it is very difficult to interpret such a film, but it is very easy to interpret a film with threads. Any
Mhm.
idiot can understand, say, John Carpenter's Escape from New York, while The Beyond or Argento's Inferno are absolute films." Lucio Fulci.
Mhm.
The only reason I bring that up is not to put Rob Zombie and Lucio Fulci on the same um, stage together necessarily, because I would never do that. But
Yeah.
I think H2 is a film, or wants to be a film of images rather than one that's carried by threads.
Yeah. I
And
definitely see that. Yeah.
if you're a fan of, and again, I'm not putting these two things on the same level by any stretch, but if you're a fan of the Gates of Hell trilogy, say City of the Living Dead, or anything that really requires nightmare logic,
Mhm.
if you're a fan of that, then how do you not, at least in some small part, be a fan of this film? Because I think Zombie was, I mean, it just seems like he was sort of trying to utilize some of the same ideas, make this a very nightmarish film that relied more on images than it did anything else. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, the thing is, like, I think the problem that a lot of people have, and it's not really a problem, but it's just the way people are. I think they have such a love for the Halloween series and for the Michael Myers that we all know from the original series and everything, that something this different just, it just doesn't work for them. And I get it. I mean, I'm a huge Halloween fan. The first Halloween movie is my favorite movie of all time. Uh, but that being said, I can watch this and I can like it for what it is. I know it's a very different Michael Myers, and I think a lot of people have a problem with the fact that it's a different type of Michael Myers, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know, give it a second chance.
Yeah, I think what helped me was, well, I mean, I'm a Rob Zombie fan anyways. I think he's
Yeah.
probably my favorite. He's my favorite modern director,
Mhm.
just because he's not afraid to go
No.
to some areas. I mean, I think the Devil Rejects might be it very well may be the greatest sequel ever to any horror film, and I think part
Yeah.
of it is because it's such a different film than House of a Thousand Corpses,
Yeah.
and it works so brilliantly. And the end is perhaps the greatest end. Um, I,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the only other movie I can think of at the top of my head that had such a great end that got undermined by the rest of the franchise was the original Halloween 2.
Yeah.
I mean, how classic is Dr. Loomis with Michael and Laurie there in the room, and once Laurie gets out, you got this
Mhm.
gas-filled room, man. He pulls out that lighter, and he's just like, Michael, it's over, and boom, the
Yeah.
whole thing is done, and it gets ultimately, though, it gets undermined by the rest of the films that eventually will come post Part 3.
Yeah.
And now we know Devil's Rejects is been undermined by Rob's own attempt to put a third piece
Yeah.
to it, which is unfortunate in one way, but it might not have been so unfortunate if had, unfortunately, Sid Haig not
Yeah,
taken such a downhill slide. I wonder what that third piece would have
I think it
looked
would have
like.
been a very different movie.
I have probably. Uh,
That being said, with the Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses and Three from Hell, I I have an interesting way of looking at them. I look at them as three separate movies in three separate worlds. They all share some connectivity, but I look at like let's put it this way: the characters in House of a Thousand Corpses, I don't think are the same characters that are in Devil's Rejects. It's a different world. It's like where this one was like, you have the like essentially like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 like type world of House of a Thousand Corpses, and then this other world that's like the raw, gritty Devil's Rejects world. They're the think like a multiverse, essentially. And then I think, Devil's Rejects, though it has the ending, the ending of Devil's Rejects, I think they are dead. It's over. That's it. Three from Hell is a different world. That's a world where they weren't hit as badly as we saw in Devil's Rejects. That
You know
makes
what I?
sense?
Yeah, yeah. You know what I think the main thread becomes in light of Sid Haig's unfortunate or
Yeah.
loss of him, and how that might have did impact that
Mm,
film. I think you're right. I think you can look at it as though they're three separate films or in their own worlds,
yeah.
universes, so to speak. But at the same time, I think with the loss of Sid Haig, that trilogy really does become Baby's trilogy. I mean, I think you could look at it as
Yeah.
um, the story arc of her character from when we first meet her in the first film
Mm,
up through Rejects, and then of course because especially the way Three from Hell ends, she
mm,
has such a great you know
yeah.
great part in the final moments of that film. It really does feel like man, it feels like a character's arc over three films, but
Yeah.
probably accidentally as a result of the loss of Sid Haig and the changes that had to be made, um,
Yeah.
which were unfortunate. But being that this is Halloween, and it's I think I mean, Rob Zombie is like a lot of directors. Felt like he got burned by the big studio. The
Mm,
amount of compromises, especially when you're dealing with such a huge franchise like Halloween.
yeah.
Um, I think what hurt Rob the most, and what does not get talked about near enough, although I love to bring it up always, is the
Mm,
fact that his initial pitch to the Weinsteins, was to, basically shoot both films. He wanted to do two films, shoot them both at the same time, release one, and then the year to the day later, release the second part. The first part being, all young Michael up through into the sanitarium, and
yeah.
then the final climactic moment, his escape, and then part two, his entrance into Haddonfield. So in effect, you
Part
had
two would be the remake,
yeah.
essentially.
So
Yeah.
in effect, you have Rob Zombie's film, to all his glory, what he brought to that world that we know as Halloween. But then the great nod to, well, here's John Carpenter's movie,
Yeah.
you know, as an outgrowth of this world that I've created. Now, had that been done,
Mm,
and you're asked to come back to put a third piece on it, how
yeah.
much more different does that third piece look, than ultimately what we did get in H2? Because really, H2, even though it's a sequel to one film, really, when you look at Halloween, the first film, it really is two films stuck
It is.
together. And so if you tear the first film apart, you really have three pieces. And unfortunately, I think because of that, H2 suffers. Well, I'll say I'll say that's why I think a lot of people should understand why it suffers so much.
Yeah.
Now, with all that being said, I still enjoy it. I still think it still breathes a lot of unique fresh air into the franchise. Continues to build up on this world that he created, and that's why I was one of the most disappointed people in the world when I found out that I think the Todd Farmer and the writers and makers of the My Bloody Valentine remake
Mm.
had apparently written a script that utilized Rob Zombie's world, but took basically the best of his world, but also tried to bring the old vibe of the old Halloween back in and bring some of the characters back.
That would have been
And
awesome.
I know, and Tom Atkins, he was going to be in it. He was going to play he was going to play Laurie's psychiatrist.
That's
Uh,
nice. That would have
I
been good.
it would have added Tom Atkins. Ah, man, I have the German release of Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, and
Mm.
at the tail end of that, well, Tom Atkins is on the commentary, which is great. But at the tail end of that commentary, he tells the story about how he's called up and asked if he wants to be part of what, in effect, would be this third Halloween film, utilizing Rob Zombie's world he had created, but sort of trying to bring it back somewhat to an earlier vibe.
Yeah.
And but of course, instead, what we had is the great epic. Well, I'm just gonna say it, the pissing contest between Rob and John, and I'm not sure exactly how all that broke out,
Mm.
but I think it's really unfortunate that through that huge ordeal, what we ultimately got, and I'm not gonna really say anything bad on it, but what we get is Halloween, 2018,
Yeah.
as sort of an answer to, you know, everything. Well, in some people's minds, everything was totally disastrously wrong with Rob Zombie's movies, and it didn't have to go that way. We didn't have to, you know, throw the whole thing away and create a 20, you know,
Yeah.
John's movie. It's just unfortunate how all of that had to end. I don't know. I just had to get that off my chest.
Yeah. Well, hell, nowadays what they're doing with stuff, which I really kind of dig, like you've heard about like what they're doing with like that new Flash movie, right?
Okay, I read a little bit. Aren't isn't he supposed to be like going back in time, and as a result, he creates.
Yeah, it
Uh,
creates like a different world, whatever. But it's
yeah,
gonna have Michael Keaton as
right,
Batman, and
right.
but what they've said is this world is going to exist as well as like the new Robert Pattinson Batman and everything, and essentially it's going to bring every Batman movie like into like they're all canon. Let's just say that. So you could easily do that with Halloween. You know, the Rob Zombie one's canon. The original series is canon. 2018 is canon. You know, make you could run with all of it. They don't have to connect. Make them their own standalone things. It's fine. And honestly, I think we're at a point where people are starting to get that it doesn't, you know, like this movie doesn't have to exactly follow this movie. But it can still be the same like characters and stuff.
Right. What you
Yeah.
say 2018 doesn't have to follow.
Yeah, 2018 would go from part 1 like it does. But that wouldn't change the fact that like another canon is, you know, Laurie is Michael's sister, and the events of part 2, 4, 5, 6, all of those happened. And then there's you know, the H2O uh continuity that happened as well in like a different universe, if you will. You know, everything can still be canon. We don't need to throw out the old just with the new. And it's something, you could easily come back to this canon of this movie and work with it again. And I think we're getting to a point, at least now, where film fans are getting to a point where they're more accepting of stuff like that.
Well, it's interesting you say that. Earlier we were talking, and I mentioned to you the horror movie podcast did a show on Halloween 2018.
Mm-hmm.
They had the guy who should have grabbed it off my shelf and looked at it, but had the guy, pretty sure did the commentary for Halloween 4 on the DVD. But he was the guy who had put the John Carpenter documentary together that preceded the 40th anniversary theatrical re-release of Halloween. So, I mean, ultimately it makes for a fantastic show, but why I bring it up is one of the things that he gets into talking about is what you're saying, is how we ought to be approaching the franchise as a whole versus how we do approach it.
Yeah.
And it's really with a lot of angst. It's well, I hate that one. That doesn't belong. This one doesn't belong. That one belongs. I can't stand him anymore. I don't like this anymore, or whatever. And I can't I can't tell you exactly. It's been a while since I've listened to it. I'll just tell like the listeners, horror movie podcast. It's not too far back in their showography. It's the Halloween 2018 show, but it's definitely worth listening to because one of the things that the guy says is, and I think he used Halloween 5 as a way of sort of segueing into this thought of, hey, look, there's a point where a lot of people were upset by Halloween 5, the
Yeah.
character of Loomis and just, where that film went, directionally. He says, but that's, we can't get caught up. He says, every film has its own unique director, its unique vision, its sort of unique contribution to the franchise as a whole. And you have to understand that this franchise is made up of these unique, uh, people and in visions and contributive, or contributions to the whole. And all the small pieces ought to be valued because in the end, what you have is a pretty nifty franchise.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's fun. I mean, and some people out there who hear me say this, I'm sure will, probably, uh, have great, take great odds with me or whatever. But I think there is bits of, if not Fulci in this film, it definitely use of nightmare logic in the use of images over, we'll just say substance. This idea of nightmare logic, and I think where this film, if this film has flaws, is it didn't push those ideas far enough. It should have just fully embraced what it was attempting to be.
Yeah.
Completely and absolutely. Because as a Fulci fan, as a huge fan of the Gates of Hell trilogy, there are pieces in this film I could look at and just be like, it just puts a grin on my face because I'm like, I love it, man, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get into it as we start the movie and everything, But I have a funny feeling we're gonna, perhaps maybe a lot to talk about. As the film unfolds before us.
Yep.
We are working. We are both watching the Scream Factory Blue release of this. It is the unrated cut. Of course, we're watching it in black and white. Anything else we ought to say before we start this thing? Did you see it on the big screen?
I saw it. Yeah.
Nice.
I saw it in the theater.
So, what were your first thoughts?
My first thoughts for the theatrical cut when I saw it originally was I found it kind of disjointed. And those are things that were addressed in the director's cut. But also, I don't want to say I hated it, because I didn't hate it. It was a Halloween sequel. I'll say that. It wasn't my favorite. It wasn't my least favorite. It was right kind of in the middle. But I enjoyed it enough that I bought it first day when it came out. Yeah.
I also got to see it theatrically, and I was lucky enough to see both Halloween and H2. Although I had to go to H2 by myself, my wife would not go with me. She went with me to see Halloween,
Yeah.
but she wouldn't go. She would not go to the theater to see it. I had to go by myself, but I remember. I guess I remember digging it just because for the reasons I've already said. I mean, being a
Yeah.
Fulci fan and just the use of Nightmare Logic, his presence, his especially on the big screen. I mean, whether it's him coming out of the back of the morgue truck there, or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, the hospital sequences, and I know there's a lot, has been made about it being just a nightmare sequence, but just his presence, man. I mean, it just, I don't think, you can say a lot about Rob Zombie. You can say a lot about his two movies, his entries into this franchise.
Mm.
What you really can't argue with at all is just the Michael has never really looked better, or it's been a long time since Michael looked this good. Now, I'll admit, in 2018, he looked pretty good in that movie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
leading up to Rob Zombie's Halloween, he was looking pretty crappy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think what Rob Zombie really brought to the table was he restored just this notion that this presence that Michael brought. Well, Tyler Mane helps, right?
Yeah.
He plays him. I thought he did great job. But that hospital scene is insane, man. I mean, when he first comes around, we're gonna see it. When he comes around the corner, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like I remember sitting there in the theater, man, thinking, God, this is Michael. I mean, this is,
Oh yeah.
and I'll never forget. Um, I'll never forget seeing the very first trailer for the first film for the first time,
Mm.
and thinking to myself the same thing, going, "Oh my God, Halloween is back! Holy crap, this is going to be the most epic thing
Mm-hmm.
ever!" I mean, and that was a lot of that gets lost, I think. Um, but Rob Zombie really breathed new life into this franchise, and maybe as a result of doing what he did, he
Mm.
made it possible for there to be not just Halloween in 2018, but the two
Mm.
films that are coming out here soon.
Yeah.
Um, and so, and when you look at 2018, I mean, Rob Zombie, his effect is in that movie. It can be felt in that movie.
Yeah. It can. I mean, especially with the brutality of some of the
Uh,
kills.
and I knew that was going to be the case. I mean, regardless of the pissing contest between Carpenter and Zombie, and
Mm.
even I think Carpenter even to effect said something to the point of basically he wanted to eliminate any notion that zombies movies even existed. And
Mm.
I'm like, how can you do that? You can't do that. You're not going to be able to do that because this movie, both films have already made their impact.
Mm.
You can't escape it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, when me and my son went to see Halloween 2018,
Mm.
sure enough, more times than once, I'm sitting there going, "There's Rob, there's Rob, there's Rob. I see
Yeah.
Rob again. Thought we were going to eliminate this. Now you can't.
Yeah.
It's there. I mean, it's. I mean, for me, I think the biggest one is when he smashes, and we'll see it in this movie. He
Mm.
smashes that guy's head in.
Oh yeah.
It's like they literally lifted that scene out of Halloween 2 H2 for
Yeah.
that film, and it's like I don't know. I mean, that stuff's irritating in a way because I mean, in a way, as a Rob apologist, I guess I was happy to see it at the same time, I couldn't help to play devil's advocate and go, I thought we were going to eliminate Rob. I thought his universe was gone. I thought we were going to feel the effect of this anymore, and yet we did for pretty much the entirety of, of the film.
Yeah.
Except perhaps the absence of the, you know, all the excessive nudity and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's gone, but not the brutality, as you say, not just, you know,
Yeah.
the overall vibe.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, it's like I was saying earlier. This is a very different Michael Myers than was in the original bunch of movies. I mean, everyone knows. Well, for one, like, look at him. He looks like a freaking monster. And that's okay. You know? Yeah, this isn't the, you know, the blank, emotionless shape that was in the original Halloween. And that's okay. That was like a force of nature unto itself. This is a human monster, and it's a human monster at its finest, if you will. Especially in part 2.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we're gonna have fun talking about this. We probably should get it rolling here.
Yeah.
We're gonna hit just with the play.
Yep.
The play movie.
Yep.
You want to count down?
Yeah, sure. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, just play.
How about you ready? One, two, oh.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Because you got the play with movie IQ and stuff just jumped out.
Yeah. Hold on. I just got to go back from that. That's. Oh, come on, stupid thing. Now it's closed. Give me a minute while this reloads.
Well, if this part stays in the commentary, just you know, if you're watching this, you're probably listening to this because you like Halloween too, you like H2, you love Rob Zombie. Um, but if by some chance you don't, but you're checking us out anyways, just know you're gonna probably get a lot of Rob. You know, I'm a big apologist for Zombie and for this film especially. So you know,
Yep. Okay, so I'm on play. It has a play with movie IQ and all that.
okay,
So
you ready?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So 3, 2, 1, go. All right. I always find that logo funny, that anti-piracy logo. I find it funny because they purposely tried to rip off like the FBI logo and everything to make it look official, but it's not actually anything.
I get a kick out of the UK discs that come up and have the raging siren, and they even got a phone number for you to report people. Awesome.
That's funny.
Here we go, Dimension.
Oh yeah. This was one kind of thing, the whole, the white horse thing and everything, that I always found a little unnecessary. But, it's there. It is what it is. And also the fact that they had to recast the kid was a little annoying, but.
Well, as I said earlier, that's a result of him not being able to do both films at once.
Yeah.
Had he been allowed to do that, there would have been no need for this stuff. But
yeah,
I guess Dig had gotten a little too big too fast.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, they probably could have still done it, just like have aged the character up a bit.
Well, I don't know if there would have actually been even a need to reintroduce young Michael. Anyways,
Yeah.
Although it does figure into the rest of the film, so I guess I see why they do it. But
I mean, honestly, you could cut this out. You could cut out all the scenes with young Michael, and it would still work.
Man, Sherry's beautiful. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh yeah, yeah, she is.
Man, I'm telling you, she just man on Three from Hell. She's just something
Hmm.
to watch. Here we go.
Yeah.
The final climactic moments of the first film.
Yeah. So see, you could have just jumped in right here,
Yeah, you really could
and
have.
and it would have been a really cool intro.
And I do. I love this, man. I love this. I just love the fact that she's just wandering through the streets. She's probably shell shocked. She has no idea what's happened.
Yeah.
And I love just the imagery of these empty streets. And of course, Brackett's going to be coming up here.
And the fact she's still carrying the gun, I love that.
Yeah,
Because I mean most movies would be like, she'd have gotten rid of the gun by now. She'd have dropped it or something.
what do you think of the black and white so far?
I'm loving it, especially like well, you know me with the rain and everything. I just love like how messed up she is.
Oh yeah, the surgery scene is brutal.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, really, I mean, what surgery would you really need? I mean, it's been a while since I watched part one, but she got kind of wrecked up, but not enough to, I don't think, do the surgeries that they do on her.
Well, I mean, she was up in the rafters. She gets knocked down through the thing.
Yeah, so
She
maybe some
ultimately.
internal.
I mean, you got to figure with all this. Yeah, here we go. See, this is just so the way it would be if this really happened.
Yeah.
You would just be absolutely psychotic out of your mind right now. Did you see it? You see who the one nurse is, right?
Uh,
The DJ from GTA
oh,
2.
nice.
What was her
Yeah.
name? Oh, I should remember that.
That's one thing in this. I never liked Loomis's like jerk turn, I guess you could say. In the Rob Zombie movies, I never really bought you know, the character change, if you will.
Yeah, I think I I think where he will end up being here in short order. I
Mhm.
don't know if a lot of the problem is there or as much as it seems when he does sort of have a change of heart, it just seems really awkward.
Yeah,
Look at that, man! Holy
yeah.
crap, messed up.
Mm,
I do love being back at the scene like this and seeing him being put in and
yeah, yeah. So it's pulling out glass and stuff mainly.
I remember in the commentary Rob talks about how the one guy that was the doctor that's in charge of
Oh,
it,
oh.
he
Okay.
apparently didn't have any lines in this movie, but he just started talking and
Yeah, he like gave himself lines.
yeah, he just left it in. Yeah,
That's kind of awesome. I mean, that's honestly that's the mark of a good director where they realize like, hey, this is gold. Let's keep this in.
I love how heavy he is, man. He takes a punch from him and just to get him up.
Yeah.
Bracket, man. He's in a whirlwind himself too. Everyone is. You gotta figure, man.
Yeah.
That I think that's I think that those are the some of the things that Zombie brings that is a little lacking in the original films. It's just the impact that this has on people.
Yeah.
And I know there's a bit of an emotion scene with Brackett when he gets called back to the house and Andy's pulled
Yeah.
out of there in the original sequel. But
Yeah.
it's not near as impactful as the scene we'll see later
Yeah.
in this movie with Brackett.
That's one thing I've always liked about this movie, the fact that, I always find it kind of interesting with the Rob Zombie movies just that I've come to the conclusion that Michael Myers liked Annie. Because I mean, think of it. Of all the characters in the movies that go against Michael, they all end up dead in the first encounter. She survives the first encounter and is still alive at the end of the second one, but then dies of her wounds. So I think he had like a bit of a thing for her.
That's interesting.
I mean, because when you look at all the other characters that have run-ins with Michael in both part one and part two, they all die. They all end up dead. She ends up dead too, but like I said, it was like from her wounds. She was left alive at the end, like after his attack. And you gotta love these two guys.
I love the scene coming out, man.
Oh yeah,
Rob said he gets a lot of flack on this too because people are like, really, a cow in the middle of the road. And he's like, hey, this happens. People hit cows all the time. He had a buddy tell him a story about how he hit a cow, or maybe he knew a person who hit a cow. And I've lived in farm country. I mean, they do wander out there sometimes.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, you hit a cow in the middle of the road going that fast, you're gonna.
I just love that there's just like meat sauce. That's all that's really left of them.
Wow. Phew.
Oh, and this is honestly kind of one of the greatest kills in the movie.
I love it, man, when he starts to wake up.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it. I mean, of all the times and throughout all the movies when we've seen Michael, supposedly killed, whatever, and then he sort of comes out of it. This was a serious jolt the band took.
Yeah.
If anything would jolt you sort of back out of a unconscious state, it'd be this.
I think so, yeah.
And he'd be a little bit delirious. I mean, wondering where the heck am I?
Yeah. I love though that his first reaction is like, okay, I'm just gonna cut this guy's head off.
He does look pretty mad. He looks freaking awesome, man, when he first comes out. He does. Now, isn't he like one of the main guys in?
He was in 31 and 3 from Hell.
Yeah. He was the third wheel.
Yeah, essentially Otis 2.0. Yeah, it says just walks around. And the funny thing is, if he kept quiet, Michael probably just would have just kept on walking.
Maybe. God, he looks so awesome, man.
Mm. Yeah, and this is just. Oh, and it's just the amount of time he takes and everything. It's just like, yeah. Yeah, you see, this stuff, I mean, would have made more sense had it been in the first movie as well. Like with the white horse and everything.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I think that's one of the things which a lot of people really don't like about this movie. It's like it's almost like they've thrown these particular scenes in.
well, he did to effect. He admits
Yeah.
much on the commentary that it was just one of those things that suddenly it just sort of occurred to him one moment, one day, and then boom, it just sort of got written. And that's where I think, as a director, I think at times he flourishes because of that, and then other times he thinks it may be working, but it's not really working.
Yeah. That's one thing I love about Lords of Salem. He just goes for it.
I wish he would have. I really wish. And I know he was under a lot of constraint with timing, just the budget, need the. Uh, I wish though he would have been able just to spend, you know, a month locked away watching, the best Lucio Fulci films over and over and over and over and over, and just made his badass Nightmare Logic film that just would have put people on their freaking heads.
Yeah.
It'd be one of those films. Well, it already is, I guess, in a way. You either you love it or you sort of hate it. But I wish he would have just pushed it all the way.
Yeah. This is something I like. I like the fact that, yeah, this is like a dream sequence and everything. Spoilers if you haven't watched the movie before. But even here, she is messed up something fierce. How many times do you see a movie like think of Laurie's character in the original Halloween. At the end when she, she's got a cut on her arm, and that's kind of it. But look at her in this; she's all messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the worst is, you get into Halloween 4, and you're going to tell me that Loomis has just got a few scars on him. He was
I
in the
know.
middle of a room that it literally explodes.
Yeah.
And all Michael gets is some third-degree burns. Come on, give me.
Yeah.
And that's what Rob brings a lot of realism to this, man. Whether it's, I love how he inverts Laurie and Annie's characters.
Yeah.
From the first film to this film, and I think that stuff would happen. I mean, the person that's sort of like, hey, my whole world is straight, and now it's all freaking screwed up, and then the other one who, was all screwed up suddenly gets sober.
Yeah.
I don't see why.
I think
it seems natural.
What I would have done personally, this is just me. The way that Laurie is in this movie, like kind of like depressed and like all punk rocked out and everything. I would have made her like that in the first movie. And I would have done it with the express purpose of being, this is like mental illness or whatever, like runs in the family.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if you're.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting. Yeah, this is
cut right through the nose.
I love the scene coming up, man, when he comes around the corner.
Oh yeah, just the sheer amount of times that he stabs at her. She's like, yeah, you screwed now.
Here we go. Come on. God, this is so great on the big screen.
Yeah.
He never looks so freaking good than right here, right now.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, say what you want about the Rob Zombie movies. Michael Myers is imposing. He looks like a monster. And it's the fact that he picks her up before he stabs her, It's like, man, shunk. Come on. There. 2.
And she knows it's coming. It makes it worse. Oh, man.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, yeah, so I think I counted 12 stabs and 13.
Now, now that we're seeing some of this stuff, Wayne Toth, of course, is back doing the effects.
Mm.
But later on in some of the dream sequences, nightmare sequences that we'll see, I read somewhere that K&B actually donated some props to this.
Oh, nice. I love that. Just leaves the knife in the head.
That's brutal, man.
Yeah.
That is brutal. And that's that's the effect this will have on the 2018 film.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the brutality definitely like carried over, and I'm really happy about that.
I love this. Like you were saying a minute ago, she can't even walk down these stairs right without this.
Yeah, and you know, it's just, and it's made like it's a genuine handicap to her, all these injuries, where you know, Laurie in Halloween 2 and the original Halloween 2, yeah, she's still kind of messed up and everything, but not to this level. You know, she's still able to like
Oh,
move better and
check it
everything.
out, man! You're about to get your falling rain here.
Sweet.
Now, see this scene coming up. This is not in the theatrical cut when she falls into this pit
Yeah.
here. We'll have to try to remember what is new to the unrated. It's hard for me to remember.
Yeah, I know the ending is new.
This is new too. She doesn't fall into a pit like this in the
Yeah. I always wondered here, what was the idea? Was it just like, is this where they put the bodies, or is this just
I think
all?
in a way, this sort of gives away the fact that you're in the middle of a dream right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a nightmare. This ain't gonna happen. I mean, he's not gonna be able to do this much carnage.
No.
And it is well, I'll say it when we get there. But
Mm,
I just I think if any moment really paid a nice tribute to the original Halloween,
oh,
I
this is
thought
nice.
this sequence
Yeah.
really does well.
I mean, the thing with this whole sequence, this shows if he'd done like a direct remake of part 2, how good it would have been. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
There you go, man. This is about as
Yeah.
much rain as you've had in all the
Yeah.
episodes that we've done.
And I love it. Just in black and white, there's something about rain
This is your
that
glory,
just looks
man.
awesome, man.
I really do dig this whole sequence coming up with when she gets in here, and the use of music again, man. You just gotta give it to him as a musician. He knows how to place music and what music to use.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
and
he
the
does.
whole idea of just the Moody Blues. There, the whole idea of I love you. Um,
Hmm.
this notion of this sibling rivalry, love, whatever. Now, I remember. Have you heard the commentary to this?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. You remember them talking about how they, when they put in the work order for this, everything was supposed to be basically fake, like it ought to be. But in fact, what they did is they built a real
Oh yeah, yeah,
shit.
a
Yeah.
real
So he
shed,
had
and
to.
he ripped it down.
Yeah. And they did the same thing in the first movie in the bathroom sequence when he gets into that fight.
Oh
That
yeah,
all that stuff was supposed to be rigged up for as a prop, but they actually built that stuff, man.
yeah. And well, between him and Ken Faree,
Yeah.
you know, neither one of them was like, I'm not gonna like puss out on this. So.
Now, the use of imagery or the use of dream logic. I love the fact that this guy is actually personifies her teddy bear.
Yeah.
So when Michael kills this guy, he's not just killing this guy. He's killing what in effect is her only real security.
Yeah.
Just I don't care what anyone says, man. This movie has got some deep, provoking things to think about.
It really does. I mean, it's a lot better than people give it credit for. I find it funny though that it looks like she just has like a maxi pad stuck to her forehead.
Probably is. That rainfall out there, man.
Yeah.
No matter where you go, man, you can't escape the Moody Blues.
Nope.
There they are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to the original film when Laurie's in the classroom there and the whole discussion about fate being immovable.
Yeah.
I think Rob just approaches it differently, but it's the same idea.
Yeah.
There's nothing she can do, man. He's gonna keep coming and coming and coming.
Oh yeah.
Do we ever see Michael Weldon acts in any other movie?
In H2O for a little bit. Yeah, but Nax has always been kind of more like Jason.
I love how he looks out there, man.
Yeah.
This black and white man's killing me, man. This is awesome.
It is. It really is. This, you know. Again, this is another movie that looks like it could have been filmed in black and white.
And let's also too, unlike the first film in '07, he went back to 16 millimeter for this film.
Yeah.
And I think it really pays off. I love it, man. He's having to chop through real stuff, man. It's all real.
Yeah.
He did it somehow. He's getting, you can hear him out there, man. He's like, are you kidding me? I love this right here. Oh, wake up. Wake the duck up. Isn't that what the theatrical, the little thing on her mirror says in the theatrical cut?
Yeah.
Wake the duck up. Love it, man. I love it. Oh, this is so awesome.
I love the Night of the Living Dead footage playing as well.
See, kind of going back to what we were talking about a little bit, I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I think it does really work. It's an interesting dichotomy when you have, Annie basically lived her life, um, in rebellion to her dad being a cop. She basically was the bad girl, and she really wasn't a bad girl. She was probably a good girl that was just,
Yeah.
being excessive. But Lori really was the goody two shoes. She really was the, I've got everything's perfect with me. And
Yeah.
their characters are inverted in this because of what happens to them.
Yeah.
I love Brackett's character. I love how these characters have evolved.
Yeah.
Especially
Sure.
him. Freaking Brad Dourif, man. He does not get enough credit for his role as Brackett.
I know. He's awesome.
And it's funny how she's wearing a Kiss shirt when the first time you see the house in the first film, it's Kiss you hear. with
Oh yeah,
God of Thunder.
I love that song.
That's right, man. If you didn't catch it, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Not gonna hide from it. And I love the moments, they share out here. There's some good moments, and then man, she just starts tail spinning on a dime.
Yeah.
I find it so effective when we get to that point when when everything's revealed to her and who she is.
Yeah. I like that they still have the scars. How many times would you know, 2 years later, and they'd show them there wouldn't be any scars or anything, and it just they'd be perfectly fine.
It's funny too, just listening to her. So you don't care. I love that scene when young Michael comes out on the curb and Nazareth Love Hurts
Oh yeah,
kicks in. There's
yeah.
just a lot of that, man, going on here. Oh, look at that.
Mm,
So Margot Kidder.
yeah.
That awesome, man.
That's one thing you can always say, no matter what Rob Zombie movie you watch, there's always like Hollywood horror royalty in it.
Big time.
Though of course Margot Kidder or whatever never. She's always said both her and Karen Black have said they've never been in horror movies.
Karen Black, Mama Firefly.
Yeah.
Ah, she's so freaking awesome.
Mhm. He's living in your heart and your emotions. Like, no, he's living in reality.
I love that look she gives, man.
Yeah.
Like the whole time, she's just like, "Are you for real right now?"
Yeah. I just love that she's got like this like freeform dreadlock on the front of her head, where it's like so obvious she just never combs her hair anymore.
Another thing, apparently they had written into the 2018 film.
Hmm.
Um, it was originally written that Lori, there's that scene when we see her outside. I think we see her. Don't we see her outside of the prison waiting for the transfer to happen?
Yeah.
For the bus. There's apparently it was originally written in there that she will run the bus off the road, thus causing Michael's escape.
That would have been a good
And
scene
I'm
to put
telling
in
you,
there.
that was freaking genius. And I'm not a fan of that movie. That would have been freaking genius. And it
Yeah.
really would have fed into her character. And
Yeah.
why they changed, I don't know why it is, but it's brought up on that horror movie podcast show. It's brought up.
Hmm.
That might be one of the worst stupid decisions. It would have been. But you got to be gutsy, man. You got to be bold and just go with what you think
Hmm.
really ought to be. I mean,
Yeah.
and Loomis's character here. I mean, it's like the first time you see him. When he comes to meet Michael in the school, he's just sort of hippie, 60 byproduct of the 60s
Yeah.
hippie, free, you know, and then we, get to this point. It makes you wonder exactly, at least in terms of how the character is written, what pushes him over to be so cold
Yeah.
and numb to what is really happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it just the idea that he figured he wasted so many years that he's got to have his payday?
It could be, yeah. I mean, one thing I always found kind of interesting about the first Halloween is when you look at like everything that Michael Myers does in the first one is a result of betrayal. Every single thing. I mean, you got his you know, his sister's supposed to go trick or treating with him. She betrays him, she doesn't. The guy who's supposed to be like his father figure,
Yeah.
he's just like a jerk, so he essentially betrays him. The school that's supposed to help them with the bullies and everything, they betray him.
Oh.
You know, his doctor betrays him. Everybody betrays him.
Whomever his biological dad was.
Y- yeah, I mean, everything is a betrayal. And when you actually look at it like that and rewatch the movie, you're kind of like, well, damn.
This looks awesome, man.
Yeah,
This looks so awesome. You know,
it
and
does.
they filmed this in a town just south of me.
Oh, that's cool.
I need to get down there. I need to. I think it's about an hour or so down below me.
Mm. You can save the slacker shit for those corporate bloodsuckers. Oh.
I love that.
Oh.
Doesn't have a lot of moments like that, but I like that. That was a
Yeah.
great natural moment. The big advantage, man, Rob has being part of the music world is he has got so much uh, ability to be able to get stuff where others can't without having to pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
The connections he's got and stuff.
I love
It's
that.
you know
Suck it
what?
up, oh.
And here's the thing too, kind of like to what we were talking about. You can say a lot about. Well, I don't like Laurie's character right now. I don't like how she's changed and everything. But when you compare her to these two girls, she's to she actually is a role model to these two girls because they're a little freaked out towards the end of the movie when she really starts to come unglued and not care.
Yeah.
It's even a more of a different Laurie to them,
Mm.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
Here's a scene. Now here's a scene that's lengthened by the unrated cut.
Yeah.
I just wish we would have got more. I wish this. I could have loved. I could have been fine with this scene being like 10 minutes long, man. Maybe not that long, but
Mm.
just more. I think it moves too quick. Even in the unrated cut, I think it moves too quick.
Mm.
But I'm glad they put the extra. I think
Yeah.
in the theatrical cut, it takes 2 seconds to his implosion, and then, but in this one, it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah. Anybody got any questions? It's like,
I tell you, I think a scene like this, I think it was a missed opportunity in the sense that we make a lot of out of the differences between this film and Carpenter's film. This
Hmm.
is the issue of nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
And here was a great opportunity to really sort of lay out a little bit more groundwork and maybe give us a little bit more insight into young Michael than maybe we hadn't been given
Yeah.
up to this point, which sort of just reestablishes that,
Hmm.
yeah, this is not, um, Carpenter's world. This is my world. We're talking about, you know,
Hmm. Yeah.
the scene could have been a lot. I think the scene could have been a lot longer. I would have loved. I mean, because like, look at the unrated cut for or for the original film, and how much more that they put in there with just the scenes between him and Dag in the sane asylum.
Yeah.
They could have lengthened this, made this a little
Yeah.
bit more substantive.
Yep. I love that. I love how they like juxtapose that against, a shot of Michael walking through a field.
Well, he is the mother of all vagabonds right now, man. He's just wandering around, man.
I wonder, is that what he's been doing for 2 years? Literally just
Aimlessly, man. Just
walking
wandering.
around?
Can you imagine this? You imagine all the people who have had a run-in with him, man, accidentally
Yeah, well, maybe they're all dead.
or not?
Yeah. And I wonder why 2 years. Like
What
why waited two
isn't
years?
that the difference in the theatrical and the
Yeah.
unrated?
In the theatrical one, it's the next year,
Yeah,
you know.
it does beg the question: what has he been doing for 2 years?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't remember. I know Rob talks about it in the commentary. I just can't remember if he gave any real.
Mm. That's kind of a cool idea, having like the kid talk instead of Michael. And they've been able to keep him quiet. I don't like the die at the end. That's kind of dumb, but other than that,
I love, man. This has always been one of my favorite scenes.
yeah.
I love this, man.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, yeah, they're big guys, but he still kind of dwarfs them. You would think, yeah, just ignore him.
And isn't this is our guy? This is our guy from 30 Days of Night.
Yeah,
It
I think
talks
so.
about isn't this why we all come out here?
Yeah.
Love them, man. Just look like, man.
Yeah. I mean, look at the size difference. Yeah, he's 7 foot tall. You should be like, let's like, just leave him alone.
These punks, man. They're about to get theirs.
Oh yeah.
Bullies, man. Just a bunch
Professional
of
ass.
bullies, man.
Yeah, they gonna get theirs.
It's too bad she becomes collateral damage, but
Yeah, but at this point, he's been like I said, he's been betrayed by so many people. He's just gonna leave a trail of carnage everywhere he goes.
I love it. When he puts his mask on, man.
Oh
This
yeah.
freaking on.
Yeah. And it's the size of that knife too, you know, big ass hunting knife.
And he, you know, he just has this the way the light hits him and stuff. He just has this spook quality about him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not ever meant to be as atmospheric as John Carpenter's first film, but there does seem to be moments of where he just comes across as a spook man.
Yeah.
Not in the same way, you know, as the original. In its own weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna survive this girl.
Maybe if you'd, jumped in the driver's seat and hit the gas. I said I was sorry. It's like, yeah, Michael don't care.
He's just dragging her, stabs her, drags her, stabs her.
It's the multiple stabs which make it work, you know? Oh, look, dinner.
You know, and it's funny too because I've heard people. Well, I mean, there's two things here, real quick. I mean, I've heard people, you know, really, 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 you know, complain up a storm like, seriously, we're gonna see Michael eat a dog, really? But in the first freaking movie, in the original movie, when
He ate
they're
a
in the
dog.
house, there's Loomis all but says, yeah, it was, you know, Michael eating the dog here. When
Yeah,
what does Brackett say? Oh, it's a raccoon or something. What?
yeah. He's like, he
No.
got hungry.
Okay, he got hungry. I mean, so I don't know what how people forget about that. And then the whole mental link here. Um,
Mm.
you know, we see that in what with Danielle Harris's character in four or five and four and
Yeah, 5.
five, mostly five. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, these are themes that have already been dealt with that he's just coming back to
Yeah.
in a different.
I love that. Just talking about like, you know, and he missed the barn
And you know what? He
completely.
never takes a bite of this man.
That's
He never eats. He never takes a bite. It's amazing.
oh, I couldn't do that.
This Brad Dourif, man. He never takes a bite.
Oh,
Awesome. I love it. I love how he's sort of just like he so badly wants to be a father figure. He's just so struggling.
yeah. Well, that's kind of the thing. I mean, throughout like he does everything kind of like right, but it everything backfires on him, you know?
And that makes it so tragic.
It does. It really does.
See, this is a nice moment.
Yeah.
They have him.
Yeah.
Just they're both suffering a lot of pain.
Mm.
And this is a cool scene, man. Just you know him looking at the moonlight and
Yeah.
don't know what he's thinking, man.
No, I'm just kind of like, oh, look at that.
This might this might be yeah. This is one of my favorite nightmare scenes.
Mm.
I love how they just found a way to bring snow into it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think here's where some of the K&B props came in.
Yeah.
I love it, man. It's just so different. It's so He's got some crazy crap going on up in his head.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings back Phantasm, doesn't it, man?
Oh, it really does.
When the arms and stuff come up out of the ground
Yeah.
and he's in the bed.
I just love the fact she has a Charles Manson poster behind her. You know, the sister of like a serial killer has another like crazy ass guy on a poster behind her. You would think they'd have a thing, you know, like if you happen to see a 7 foot tall guy heading towards town, just let us know.
See, and we had talked. Totally get back into it, but we had talked, I think, earlier about um, the idea that had been written out for a possible third film that would have jumped off of this film.
Yeah.
Um, crap. I had a thought of mine. Oh, crap. What was it? Um, oh, okay. I was just thinking how with the third film, Brackett would have been back,
Mm.
and I think the idea was Brackett was going to like kind of be like your new Loomis type character,
Oh,
but be more like a real Loomis without being Loomis.
that would be cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that idea, just seeing Brackett sort of take on the role of, okay, now it's upon me to hunt this thing down, and I'm going to be the one who's going to try to convince everyone who won't believe me that there is a threat.
Yeah.
That'd have been great, man. I'm telling you, if we could have seen Brad Dourif's character evolve that next step, I think it could have been great.
Mm. Keep your side clean, bitch.
This is pretty awesome too. See? And you know what? I never really thought about it until right freaking now. But it's moments like this, man, that is I think he's impacted by Hammer.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
In fact, I was reading somewhere earlier that that whole Captain Clegg and the Night Creatures,
Mm-hmm.
the fictitious band, that plays at the
Yep.
uh, Halloween thing towards the end.
Yep.
Captain Clegg is the name of a Hammer film.
Oh, that's cool.
So I mean, there's Hammer influences in this as well.
Yeah.
This is so perverted, man.
It is.
You got this guy. What this guy does, man, and he's like just hanging out with the little girls, man. It's just so messed up.
He was like yelling at the kids.
And her interpretation of it is even better.
Yeah. It's like this farm. And this lady let me hold a pig.
Marco's like, dude, she's flipped, man. Holy crap. Lock her up now.
You can't help but think if they did, maybe a lot of people wouldn't have died.
I'm telling you, I'm digging this black and white, man. This is probably my go-to now.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing this movie so differently. And I liked it to begin with anyway, so.
I love that. I need you to get your magic pen and your magic paper and write me a prescription.
And I'll say this, I don't care what anyone says, but, you know, you have Laurie's sort of spiral downward in her character in 2018 film. I think Scout, I think her performance is way above what's her name, Jamie Lee Curtis's. As far as what they wanted the character to become.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be like that though. If they would have just let her run that bus off, that could have worked so well into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they sort of undermine themselves. But I love this man. This is so freaking awesome. God, could you imagine being on set watching her just unleash yourself?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
It's all starting to come apart. He can't hold it together. See, I don't mind Loomis's character. I think what bothers me is, like I said earlier, his change of heart is too awkward.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he suddenly has a moment of realization and just suddenly goes, "Oh, okay, I want to save the day now."
Yeah.
It's just too awkward. You don't need mine. You know, it's weird. She Danielle she had just part of her facial expression, man. Like she kind of took it right back to what you almost would have seen when she was that little girl in Halloween 4.
Yeah.
I do find it very interesting too that when Michael arrives in town, this is his first stop.
Yeah.
I just think it goes back to all the pain and suffering this place brought on him as a result of his mom.
Yeah.
working there and others knowing that and just being a kid in school having to deal with that. Freaking skanky, man. It's funny to listen to Rob talk about this place. You know that this place, it was so disgusting. The job that they had to do to clean this place up. He says, man, it was like hazmat worthy. And I find it interesting too. You know, you just think about the Rabbit in Red. At least what they made the Rabbit in Red out to be in his world. Um, it's just interesting. I was just thinking about that song Tom Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
I love that line when it says, "What you say about his company is what you say about society."
Yep.
It just man, you know, it's a lot of thought, man, into generally speaking.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the whole white horse thing could have probably Jeff freaking Daniels. I love this scene. he just like he thinks he's such a badass. He has no idea.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen, buddy. Boom. And the scene that will be lifted for Halloween 8, 2018.
Yep.
God, this is crazy. God. Oh. This Dan, is this Daniel Warbuck?
Ah,
Plays this guy.
might be.
I love it, man. I love it, man. When he has his arm
Oh yeah.
busted, man. I love the scream he gives out, man. So great, man. Mm. Ah.
Oh.
Oh, let's do screw.
Yeah, the brutality level is just perfect.
Oh. Well, this sort of harkens back to the original Halloween 2, doesn't it? With the sauna scene.
Yeah.
Just, replace the mirror with a sauna.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, man. When I saw this in the theater,
Hmm.
at this point, man, I was so bought in. I was dreading, just dreading, knowing that she was probably going to find out.
Oh yeah. And it's like the way that she finds out, the fact, it's like gets the book and reads it. It's like, you really? Hobo Myers kind of works.
If you really think about it, what else? I guess the only alternative is he walks away from that crash scene and he just goes looking to finish the job
Yeah.
that in the next few days. But then again, maybe he's just so screwed up from being shot and being in that accident. He just aimlessly wanders off.
Yeah.
Now, I think ultimately this whole scene would have been a little bit more effective if he actually would have discharged the weapon. Not, I think you know what that could have been the game changer for Loomis's character.
Yeah.
Had he discharged that weapon and nearly, in effect, almost killing him, that could sobered him in the way that we needed to see him sobered as quick as he would be.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe that is a missed opportunity. Because the great dichotomy here is this guy's a real nut man, and
Yeah.
here is this normal, average working guy who just snaps under pressure because he's had his daughter taken from him.
Yeah.
exactly. He doesn't even remember his.
Yeah.
But it was a good way of, you know, tying the two films together.
Yeah. Yeah.
The You discharge the weapon right there. The round goes over Loomis's head, but it's enough to wake him up.
Yeah.
That's really what's missing for his character, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's not even here right now as much as it will be, what, after his little fiasco with Weird Al.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I wonder how this movie would have fared towards the end had he had his waking up moment right now and Brackett hadn't read the book, if these two wouldn't have come together.
Yeah. They might have. That would have worked.
And it would have been a lot different of a, race to the finish line.
Hmm.
So I wanted to cry in the theater when I saw this. This really
Mm.
hit me the first time I saw it.
What always gets me is how she goes into like revenge. She's like, "I'm not me," and it's kind of true. Like everything you know is a lie.
Perfect song placement.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Why would he be on a show with Weird Al Yankovic and think that, it's gonna turn out good? Uh,
I would love that, man. That's such a great line. Yeah, well, everyone really cares.
I've never been able to figure out, is he carrying a bag or is he just carrying the mask in his hand?
I don't know, but I was thinking earlier. I wish with his mask getting all ripped up and everything. I almost kind of wish we would have seen him break into that store and get a new one.
That would have been cool.
Sort of
I
an
mean,
homage to the original.
hell, let's be honest, you could have even changed the mask at that point.
I'm telling you, I kind of dig the mask that he puts on. Is it part five when he's in the car?
Yeah,
He
that
has that different mask on.
yeah.
But there's always this connection with him and little kids. Anyways, like in the original, remember when he's driving very slowly around the school property, watching
Yep.
Young Tommy Doyle.
Yeah.
I always wondered what was freaking going on with that. What was
I always assumed it was like he saw these kids you know, like that was him, like the last thing he remembers before he went away, sort of thing. Little kids getting ready for Halloween or whatever. I always wished here that she was like messing around, like the lamp would have caught her head or something. Just for the hell, it just would have been an interesting little scene. Oh, that
kind of an
commercial.
homage to Dawn of the Dead,
Yeah,
man? Helicopter plane.
yeah,
I almost wish I was thinking too early. I almost kind of wish that the book would have sobered all three of these girls up
yeah,
and it replaced. I mean, I dig the Phantom Jam. I dig what they're trying to do, but I don't know. It's like it just seems like I don't know. I don't know what else you do, but
yeah. I don't know. I mean, well, I guess it sort of makes sense. I mean, just to like turn your brain off and get away from the situation for a while.
it does make for a pretty cool kill with the band.
Oh yeah.
Captain Clegg and the Night Creatures.
Oh yeah.
Hammer influence, man. Hammer influence. Never knew that till today.
Yeah.
Now I want to see that movie, Captain Clegg.
Yeah. I think it's like is it like he's like a pirate or something?
Yeah, something.
Your shipbox over there, Kojak. I love that.
You know, it's funny. The one of the Kills That Scream says that shaking my boots. Does seem a little bit much. He'd be in the middle of a quaint, sort of old-fashioned town, having this sort of jam with topless girls and stuff.
Yeah.
Seems a little overboard for a small rural town.
Yeah. I kind of doubt they could afford one of those either. Giant animatronic thingamadoober.
I'll tell you what would have been cool, man. Being in the
Yeah.
Phantom Jam, if we would have actually seen, because we've seen it in other Halloween movies, if we actually would have seen somebody there wearing a Michael Myers mask, man, even though
Oh, that would
they're
have
not
been
Myers,
sweet.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've seen it in other Halloween movies.
Yeah, that would have worked so well. And you could have just thrown out, so easily the red herrings and everything.
It's funny because some of these girls in the back aren't, they ultimately aren't like digging it.
Yeah.
Love how this guy plays it off, man. He's like, I'm all that, and then like he's put in a situation where
Yeah.
he's actually intimidated. Isn't there a scene a lot like this in at the end of Prom Night that involves a band?
I think so. I just love that. The indignity killed him while he was taking a piss. Didn't even let him finish. I get the feeling that this kill is just padding.
Well, it's just I wonder too. How does he even know, or does he even know that there's a connection between her and Lauren?
See, you wouldn't think that he would know.
See, what you're missing is you're missing an earlier scene that would have seen him, off to
Like,
the distance, staring at them as they're all walking together, like you would have had in the original
yeah.
film. But you really don't have anything that you know of.
Hmm. Self-inflated ego. You got snapped by Weird Al.
I think didn't on the commentary. I think he said Weird Al agreed to do it. The only real condition is he wanted to be able to wear whatever he wanted to wear.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, how many directors would have been kosher with that?
Yeah, probably not many.
Rob's like, yeah, okay, it's fine. See, I almost wish she would have found her friend.
Mhm. Steppity steppity step. Yeah, the cop on the porch with a shotgun, right out of part 4.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though, yeah, you say that, and I've thought about that before.
Mhm.
How many like whenever you watch part five,
Yeah.
like some point in the next day while this is still fresh in your mind, go back and rewatch part five. I'm telling you, it's like Rob just sat there and watched 4 and 5 and decided to just skim off the top.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the case. Oh.
That's beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah, and coming up's like an example of like what I was saying though, everyone else who's come into contact with him is dead, you know, but she survives her initial attack from him. Hmm. Makes you wonder if she just gone like, "Hello," what he would have done.
Like, does he even remember her? Does he remember?
I think he does because like I said, all the other ones he just kills straight off, but he leaves her. Left her in the first one, left her in this one, still alive. Now, admitted she dies from her wounds in this one, but
This does get pretty heart wrenching.
Yeah.
He's got a rope. I didn't realize he had a rope around his neck.
Yeah. And he was right. Maybe she's a genius. I can't read that. That's awesome. These cookies are so good. You should have a cookie. How many Rob Zombie movies do you know that have a talk about cookies in it, other than this?
Yeah, I don't know. There's not any, is there?
No.
There's the whole Tutti Frutti scene in Rejects Ice Cream.
Yeah. That's quite a nice full VHS collection they have.
You know, it's like they're all living on borrowed time.
Yeah.
They don't realize it. Worse is for Brackett because he loses.
Everything. Yeah. All the others, he left completely dead. For her, he left slightly alive for the second time.
Yeah, that is an interesting.
Mm.
It's interesting, at least towards the end stretch here, we kind of get the old boy back.
Yeah.
I don't know how implied that was meant to be, but seems like maybe Michael's re-entrance, sort of brings her back.
Yeah. That's a nice
That,
shot.
that is pretty cool. Man, this is horrible. Maybe one of the more effective moments in any of the movies in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
I love how they were able to use real footage of her as a kid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just works perfectly because that literally is her. Yeah, and he's completely broken now.
It's like the things they could have done with his character in light of the loss of his daughter. How they could have pushed his character to be kind of that Loomis character in another film.
Yeah, for sure. It could have
You know,
worked.
one intent man, hunt him down.
Yeah.
He does catch up to them pretty quick.
Yep.
I thought she had a pretty good head start, but
I always thought it would have been neat if that had been her psychiatrist.
oh, Margot Kidder.
Yeah, it would have been interesting little,
Yeah, that could have been interesting.
yeah, like she was like on her way to check on her or something.
instead of this poor guy, man, Margot gets her head through the windshield.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he really did. He really did pick up his car.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hell, when you're a 7 foot tall, like essential freak of nature, I mean, he can do stuff like that.
I always like how he has to take a second and just look up at the trees.
Yeah. Hmm.
Man, I love how it looks in black and white.
Yeah, the black and white really helps with this movie for sure. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, when all's said and done, he doesn't even get to take out the guy that killed his daughter, does he?
Well, I mean, you have two alternative. I mean, you have two ends.
Yeah.
Remember how the unrated and just, I guess, on the very, 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 very short possibility that someone's viewing this having not seen this movie straight through.
Yeah.
Because let it just sit out there. But I know he had two ways of ending this film.
Yep.
I guess we'll just talk about which one we prefer when we get to that point.
Mm.
It does seem a little bit weird here, though, only in the sense that in the first film, it's all about food,
Yeah.
but not her food.
Hmm. So where is he supposed to be exactly? Like just in like a hotel or something?
Yeah, that's pretty much my understanding, I think.
Hmm.
It's a pretty darn nice looking hotel room.
Yeah.
Then again, he does have quite a bit of money with him.
Hmm. Mhm. He's like, nope.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just seems like some of this is just rushed.
Yeah.
They would have just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. The die wasn't really necessary. I suppose he did get a bit of revenge, I guess.
I never really could really come to the point of really understanding from this point forward.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
why aren't people just running to her? I don't the I mean it seems like everything's been slowed down anyways, but it just seems to be no attempt to just I mean Michael's down on the ground, you have to be just running.
yeah. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, you know what? She picked up the knife. Even if she.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean I don't mind the idea of everyone dying here at the end. I just wish it would have been executed slightly different.
Yeah. I actually prefer the theatrical ending.
I think I do too. There just seems something. If I remember it right, doesn't is it?
She comes out and she's like wearing the mask.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like very much hinted at that,
she's gone insane,
yeah.
and he's not clear in the commentary on the theatrical cut about whether that's an asylum she's in or if that's just.
Like
Well,
her
wait a minute, is that
dead,
coming up
yeah.
here? Or?
That's coming up here, yeah. You know, yeah, it's never really. See, I always sort of assumed she was dead, and this was all in her head, like at the end, sort of thing.
So, like, do we get the white corridor at the end of the theatrical cut?
I think we do, but I don't think there's. It's been a while since I watched the
Yeah.
theatrical cut. I seem to think we have this, but she was never. I don't think she was shot up. If it's like I said, it's been a long time since I saw it.
Yeah, I know. I think in the theatrical, it's more sort of it's okay to imply that she's alive and
And insane.
sane. And
Yeah.
here, it's sort of well. I think maybe in the commentary here, he was saying that the implication wasn't that she was alive, but that this was just the last thing she was seeing before she was dead,
Yeah.
which is sort of creepy.
Yeah. Hmm.
And it's you think of the theatrical cut, you just in our conversations before in the past on maybe the missed opportunities with carrying a bit of a psychotic Danielle Harris from
Yeah.
part four. Another maybe another missed opportunity, not maybe to make her the killer per se, but to allow her to flesh out that part of her character a little bit more in some weird way.
Yeah. And that grin,
Yeah.
that always reminds me of. You ever seen the footage of Varg Vikernes's trial where he gets sentenced? Yeah, he just kind of turns to the camera and he gives a smile, and it's kind of like that, and it just works.
I do love this too. I love how we're given all the footage or pictures, stills of
Like, yeah, all the victims from
all.
both movies.
Dude, that scene, man, when he comes through the doorway with the bat, man, holy crap!
Yeah.
And it's funny because at the same time, it's like the grandfather clock is going off in kind of the same way it goes off as he begins to ascend the staircase in the original.
Yeah.
God, her dad,
Hmm.
her mom. What was the heck was her name? Girl who played her mom.
Uh,
The Hollow.
was it D.
Yep,
Wallace?
Dee Wallace, yeah.
Yeah. Wayne Toth. Yeah, I love the music choices on Rob Zombie's movies. They always work.
There's Tyler Bates. There's a quick in Dawn of the Dead remake. He
Hmm.
did the score to that. And there's
Nice.
a bit of music. What is it? Oh, what the heck? Rob asks. I know he has him revisit that piece of music
Hmm.
in one of his films. I'm trying to think what was it? What if it's Halloween? No, maybe it was Rejects. It just seems like, but there's a piece of music.
Hmm.
I wonder if it is the first Halloween. It just seems like there's a piece of music there that when you, well, it's the scene when they've just started barricading themselves into the mall,
Hmm.
and those people show up with that lady that's pregnant and the old
Oh
lady.
yeah.
When they're racing to get into the door, there's that music
Hmm.
right there, and it'll come up again.
Hmm.
It's yeah, this movie gets trashed way too much.
It
It's
does. It's not as bad as people think. I mean, it, Does it really compare to any of the other Halloween movies? Not really. It's kind of its own thing. But I'm fine with that, you know?
If anything, not that you're really comparing it per se,
Mm.
but if you put it up side by side with part five,
Yeah.
they both were taking sort of creative decision making with their characters that provoked a lot of hostility in people.
Yeah, for sure.
Nobody, a lot of people didn't like Loomis. Loomis's change of character. I mean, he gets a little psychotic in part five. I mean, the way he treats um, Danielle and
Yeah.
really threatening her almost.
Yeah. Yeah, he really does.
Why are you protecting him? Why?
Yeah.
So he gets demented, man. He's. But I don't. That doesn't bother me though. I mean, I there might have been a time when I kind of stayed away from five, but it seems like the last time I revisited five, it actually the last couple times have grown on me a little bit more. I'm starting to appreciate just that part four and five arc.
Yeah. I mean, it's the sort of thing. No one's going to say part five is like the greatest movie ever made, because it's not. But, it's still okay.
I'm telling you though, man. And I don't know. I'm probably not really that big of a fan of how I'm about to present this,
Mm.
but you know, going back to the whole pissing contest between Carpenter and Zombie,
Mm.
if Zombie, Carpenter's about, at least as producer and whatnot, he's about to have in his hands on the composition. He's about to have his hands on a whole new trilogy.
Yeah.
In effect, as a result of Zombie's work. If Zombie really wanted to, sort of put the thorn back in his side, I'm telling you what he could do, man. It would be beautiful if
Mm-hmm.
he could go back. If he could get license to go back and for a new blue release, if he could break, break Halloween into two pieces
Yeah.
the way he wanted. There's got to be unused footage. There's got to be somewhere,
Yeah.
and restore the two film, make the one film into two films, and then go back and perhaps rework out issues in this one, and then put them as a trilogy in a new blue release would be outstanding, man.
That would be pretty damn cool.
It would be freaking cool, man. And it would probably, I would be willing to put a little money on. It would blow. Well, I mean, this is probably too soon. I would think it would blow the new trilogy out of the water. But then again, you know, you are hearing some rumors, that, you know,
Mm.
where the first film lacked with a lot of people, they're trying to correct for the second.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Could
know.
definitely work.
I'll go see, either way. I'll see it because I want to see Michael on the big screen.
Oh, yeah.
But it would be cool, man. It would be cool to see if Rob got a chance to sort of go back and
Yeah.
redefine his vision in an era that is a whole lot easier than Richard Donner had when he got licensed to do the Donner cut Superman 2.
Yeah. I mean, especially now. I mean, the Snyder cut of is it Snyder cut of
Yeah,
yeah,
Justice League.
Justice League, and there's talk about the Ayers cut of Suicide Squad.
Really?
Yeah, apparently his original cut was a lot different. So who knows? I mean, I would like to see it happen. I'm all for, you know, going back and making like a new cut of a movie if you're not happy with what you put out there, you know? Like I always thought that it's always a shame that David Lynch never got his proper version of Dune that he wanted to make. But I mean, with him, it's become such a sore spot. He wouldn't even do it now if they asked him.
And I don't know how practical it is, anyways, to go back and fix. It's like with Alien, the assembly kit of Alien 3 was about as good as you're ever going to get,
Yeah.
which pales in comparison to when you start learning about what the original intent started off as at the whole beginning of that whole process.
Yeah.
Um, but here is an instance where we really legitimately could have Rob go back and rework out all these problems and then put out his definitive version
Yeah, for
of
sure.
this as a trilogy and not just, well, Halloween and H2. No, break the two pieces down and then,
Yeah.
and even maybe rename H2. Maybe just go um, Halloween and then H2, H3.
Yeah. That could totally work.
Oh, I think it would be freaking epic beyond, man. I'm sure there's probably, I'm sure there's things that if he were really honest with himself, and maybe not, maybe he holds to his convictions, but I would hope that there's aspects of Halloween 2 that maybe he thinks now, well, yeah, I probably jumped the gun on that or that,
Yeah.
the whole white horse thing or whatever. I wish. See, I just wish H2 would have been a complete acid trip,
Yeah.
start to end, man. It just, it would have been one of those things where probably if you saw it on the big screen, you probably would have walked out and went scratching your head, going, What did I just watch?"
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
It's watching Brain Damage the other night for the first time. That was a bit of an acid trip movie.
Oh yeah.
I wish.
It
I
looks
wish.
good on blue though, doesn't it?
Well, actually, I watched uh, the Joe Bob Briggs
Oh, okay.
show off of Shutter, and I'll say that that one and Hellraiser or Hellbound Hellraiser 2,
Mhm.
those transfers were not good that they used.
Really?
I don't know
Oh.
where they pulled their transfers from, but it
Mm.
wasn't it wasn't the latest blue of those movies. It wasn't the
Yeah.
arrows.
Because I tell you what, the arrow of Brain Damage is spectacular.
Oh, I bet
And
it is.
yeah, considering just how old a movie it is and how, you know, the nature of it and everything, it shouldn't look that good, but it does. And it's now in the Library of Congress or whatever.
Brain Damages.
Yep. It's been added to like the historical film register or whatever. So you got stuff like
Really?
Citizen Kane and then Brain Damage. Yeah. I guess it's considered like culturally important or something.
Really?
I don't know how, but it happened apparently.
Well, I'm telling you, man. The movie. Well, it was broken up with all of Joe Bob's uh, talk and stuff.
Hmm.
But gee, I absolutely loved it, man, when Basket Case had that cameo.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's just his reaction. You know, he sat there with the basket and he's like looking at him, and then like he leaves, and it's like, you know, he like instinctively knows there's something not right here. Like this guy's kind of like me in some way.
Oh yeah, I completely, totally got that.
What do you think of the end of it though, with his head?
Well, isn't that basically the Arrow artwork on the cover?
Pretty much, yeah.
I was just waiting as the camera was sort of coming down. I was waiting to see his, full effect, but they sort of stopped before,
Yeah.
when all the electrical stuff was.
Yeah. It's
So
it's it's an odd one.
Joe Bobs was talking about how, in the end, it was really just a metaphor for drug abuse.
Yeah, and it really it plays out really well.
Oh, really, really well.
I mean, you could almost say it's like the ultimate anti-drug film.
Big time.
I mean, this is what happens if you do drugs. You get a alien little brain slug that makes you eat brains. Oh
I
man,
wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what was going to happen with Basket Case, man. I wasn't sure if he was going to open that open that bad boy up and.
that would have been awesome. I mean, even if they just had a little thing, just like where it opened a little bit and you just saw like eyes looking out or something,
I
that would
wonder.
have been
Yeah.
cool.
So, um, I think Joe Bob's mentioned this that with the Frankenhooker,
Yeah,
that sort of basket case, brain damage, and Frankenhooker is kind of like Henry Lauder's trilogy
yeah,
in effect. So,
yeah.
have you seen Frankenhooker?
It's a long time ago, real long time ago.
Do you remember if there was any sort of major cameo? In,
I don't remember if there was a cameo or not. I mean, I know it was just a fun movie, but like I said, it's been probably 25 years, 30 years since I've seen it. I saw it back when I was a kid. I rented it on VHS. I know that.
huh.
So yeah, it's been a hell of a long time. And the until they recently put out that Arrow edition, there hasn't been it's been out of print for a while. Unearthed had it for a bit, and a couple other companies, but I think just Arrow UK have it now.
Um, let's see, James. Uh, oh, I was hoping James would have answered my question about the sheet. Didn't. But, yeah, Matthew Cantor said, "Sounds good, man. Let me know, and I can look at my schedule."
Cool.
So we might have a chance to get Matthew Cantor and Dubs.
Nice.
I know it's going to be harder with Cantor just because of his work in the hospital. Like,
Yeah.
no struggles with that. Um, but so, well, I mean, I guess kind of wrap up our H2 comments. Um,
Yep.
I loved it in black and white, man. I didn't need it to be in black and white. To like make it better for me. I already was a big fan of this, but
Mm.
black and white definitely gives it an added vibe
Yeah.
that I really.
I've come to the conclusion that black and white just seems to make everything better.
I you know I mean there's bound to be a movie we're going to come across that we're going to be like, no, get that color back on.
Well, yeah, like
Uh,
Suspiria, I'm sure.
well, I mean,
You
and
know.
yeah, and I just having just seen that in 4K, oh my god, that was so beautiful.
Yeah, is
But
it as good as I've heard?
it blew me away. It is.
Nice.
Now but you have the Synapse Blue on that, right?
I have the Synapse Blue, yeah.
Okay, so I mean that you're gonna have a pretty darn good idea of what the 4K looks just by looking. Have you seen it on the
Oh,
blue?
yeah, it looks gorgeous on
Yeah,
blue, so I can only imagine how
yeah.
good the 4K looks. From
Um,
what I've heard, though, it's older movies where 4K really shines. Because, the modern stuff is already high definition to begin with when it's filmed.
that's true, but man, I'm telling you,
Mm.
Alien Covenant, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
good.
that looked so. And Jeremy told me that uh, Prometheus is out of this world.
I bet it is. Prometheus is a damn good movie.
Anyways, yeah. So,
Yeah.
um, but and I mean, I think if I remember if I saw the specs right, this was filmed in 16 millimeter, but then brought up to 35 millimeter exposure for the release. I almost wish they would have left it at 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
And just left it its own gritty. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just thinking on. Yeah, I threw the same question at Moods when we were going. I'm talking about the Right at Your Door, which was the bonus review we had to do,
Mm,
and it was initially shot in 16 millimeter, but then it was moved to 35 millimeter, blown up.
yeah.
And I'm like, dude, could you imagine if this movie, if they would have just left it at 16 millimeter? And he agreed. He was like, oh, that would have really added just to the grittiness. And I just wonder what would have, if it would have been left at 16 millimeter for this. I mean, these things aren't going to change people's minds necessarily. People hate this movie; they're going to hate it.
Yeah.
Um, but could you imagine 16 millimeter, much grittier and in black and white?
Oh, that would have been sweet. That would have been really sweet.
It's definitely not a movie without its flaws, but um,
Yeah, it's not as bad as people think.
there are worse Halloween movies in the franchise than
Oh
this.
yeah. I mean, well, the thing is, like, I would watch this before I'd watch Resurrection any day. Resurrection is bottom of the barrel as far as I'm concerned.
I would generally, let's see, I'm just thinking, as go-tos. I love Halloween, the original Halloween 2
Yeah.
is a go-to. Of course, the original Halloween, I revisited that on 4K,
Hmm.
and that was absolutely beautiful.
Nice.
Um, but as a go-to, I don't know, for some odd reason, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, um, um, Halloween H2, I like this as a go-to. I actually would, if man, it's such a mental drain to actually put in Rob's first film
Hmm.
and then run this one.
Yeah.
It's just a mental drain because I mean, it works on a level that is just so draining.
Hmm.
I mean that scene when his mom, shoots herself in the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just scenes that just are just done so stinking well.
Yeah, for sure.
So is this your preferred way to watch it, or sort of
It
whatever?
is it is now, definitely. It just works in black and white so well. Yeah. It's
Nice.
definitely my preferred way to watch it from now on. I wonder how part 1 would look in black and white.
It's definitely going to look a little more cleaner. I mean, because that was shot in 35
Yeah.
millimeter, and that has a nice, clean look to it. Um,
Yeah.
I was just wondering, have you seen 31,
Yeah.
or or even Lords of Salem? Like, what's another Rob Zombie movie? I mean, I'm going to tell you right now. I think Devil's Rejects would be out of this world,
Oh yeah, Devil's Rejects 100% would look
black and
awesome
white.
in black
But
and white.
like outside of
Um,
that, what do you think?
I I love Lords of Salem, so I'm sure I would like that in any format. So black and white Lords of Salem would be awesome. 31, that's an interesting one. A lot of people really don't like 31. I've never really had a problem with it, but I think it'd look pretty good in black and white because it starts out in black and white if I remember right, doesn't it?
Um, I don't think so. Well, I can't
It's
remember.
it's been a while since I watched it,
No.
but you know that like with there's that like priest and he's like all tied up or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's in black and white if I remember right. Or it might be color. I don't know. It's been a while. You know, it would it would be an interesting experiment to say the least. You know what I still wonder about? I wonder about the remake of The Blob. That could work, especially if you then like watched the original
Yeah,
Blob
that
in
could
black
be
and white.
interesting. I was trying to resist it for a moment, but then I started thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, there's certain movies that just have that like 50s type feel to them. And if you put them in black and white, it just feels natural.
Oh, Night of the Creeps, man.
Oh, Night of the Creeps was gorgeous in black and white.
Oh, that's right. You saw it, didn't you?
Yeah, it was really good. My only complaint with it, and it's just purely a thing. I don't, if I remember right, I don't think I could use the menu very well because it was just kind of like when you changed settings, it just changed color, I think. So I couldn't actually see what I was on at any point. I think that was the one that I was having problems with. But watching it looked great. I still wonder about the void.
Yeah. Hey, did Will ever get a copy of that?
I don't think so, but I'll ask him and find out because I love that movie. That is Lovecraftian horror at some of its best.
I need to eventually go back and revisit that.
Yeah,
I've only seen it like maybe two, maybe three times, no more.
yeah, that's definitely one that would look really good in black and white, I'm sure. What else? Something like Platoon. I wonder would look if it would look good in black and white.
Maybe. I wonder if Full Metal Jacket would look better.
Oh, Full Metal Jacket! I love Full Metal Jacket.
That movie cracks me up, man.
Yeah,
I can't watch it all the time, but man, if I can go long enough in between watches, and if I put it in at the right time,
mm,
I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, the first 15 minutes or so, I,
mm.
I will I will be on the floor clutching my stomach, laughing.
Oh yeah,
I mean, and I don't know if it's because I went through basic, I was in the infantry. I know what it's like to have
yeah,
drill sergeants in your face, and that just absolutely cracks me up to no end. And then, but man, it all stops on a dime, man. When he forces him to start choking himself,
oh yeah,
it's like everything gets real at a dime.
yeah. I mean, I honestly, when it comes to war flicks, Full Metal Jacket and Platoon are my two favorites, followed by Tora Tora Tora.
I got so many, I got so many favorite war flicks, man. I love the old stuff. I love what is it, Dam Busters or
Mm,
Battleground with Van Johnson and a young
mm.
Ricardo Montalban and
Oh
bunch of
yeah,
um, um, which speaking about Van Johnson, I was shocked when to find out that he's in Killer Crocodile.
that's awesome.
Yeah, the D'Angelis Italian,
Yeah,
um, and De Rossi does the effects on that.
yeah, for
But
sure.
I could not believe Van Johnson was in that. Blew my freaking mind away. I
Yeah,
mean, this guy who was in old World War II movies is here in this Italian
yeah,
killer crocodile movie. I'm like, and he was great too because there's this one scene where he sort of has a little bit of lengthy dialogue, and I'm telling you, he turns his facial expression on, and it's like, dude, that's right out of Battleground. Holy crap! Oh, I love it. I've never had that happen to me before. Where I mean, I love a character so much from an old movie like that, and then I
mhm,
see him or her in um, a pretty recent movie,
yeah.
and they have similar facial. Well, even in this one, Daniel Harris, there's a few times
Oh
I
yeah,
saw the same facial expressions that you would have seen on the young, in part 4 or 5 of Halloween.
yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
what's really great is watching the birds with Veronica Cartwright as a little girl screaming her lungs out, and then you see her in Alien.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, just mentioning the birds. Did you see that clip on Facebook? I think it was in Texas somewhere where they had something like the birds happen.
Yes, I do.
That was creepy as hell.
That does happen, man. It happens.
I
Two things I gotta tell you real quick.
yeah.
Well, one, the last time we did no, it was a couple commentaries ago when it was just me and you.
Mhm.
Remember, I told you I had to tell you something, and I couldn't forget to tell you something had
Yeah.
nearly happened to me that day, but for whatever reason, I just never told you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm out mowing the lawn that day, right?
Hmm.
And we got that brand new swing set up, for the boys,
Yeah.
and I have to pick up the slide with one hand, and I got my other hand on the lawnmower,
Okay.
and I go under the slide to get that grass, underneath the slide.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you what, man, I literally stuck my toe, my sneaker toe, into the lawnmower.
Ooh.
I didn't know what happened at first, and
Yeah.
because things like really weird happen, and you sort of like jump back,
Yeah.
and you're not sure what just happened.
Yeah.
And I started thinking to myself, "Holy freaking crap, did my?" And I was afraid to look down at first, man.
Yeah.
I turned the lawnmower off. I just stood there for a minute. I'm like, dude, you gotta look down. You gotta look down because
Yeah.
if it's bad, you gotta know.
Yeah.
I looked down. I'm like, okay, everything seems to be good, but did I actually stick it in there? Well, when I looked real close at my sneaker, man, I took part of the toe of the sneaker right off.
Ooh. Oh man.
So my toes weren't touched. I had PTSD, man, for like the next 3 days.
Oh, I believe it.
Every time I thought about it, my stomach started turning, thinking, how close did I come to just having my toes yanked right off?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that was absolutely horrible. Um,
Yeah.
on another note, just the other day, see, I live at the end of this cul-de-sac, and
Mm.
we have. If you live here long enough, you come to know two things real fast. One, we've got um, geese that live here,
Hmm.
and there's a small little freshwater lake. It's not a lake. It's like an oversized pond, but it's big enough that when it rains way too much for way too many days, it can become a problem for our road because there's only one way in and out
Yeah.
to. But we have these geese that live here, and they're generational, man. They have their babies, they fly off, they come back, they have their babies. I mean, it's just like this. We see it every year,
Hmm.
and with turtles too.
Hmm.
Well, we must have had a monster turtle living in that little freshwater oversized.
Okay.
Right? Well, twice now since we've lived here in this little locale.
Hmm.
Well, I've seen one geese that has been run over,
Okay.
and the other day this turtle was hit.
Oh wow.
The guy, I don't swear very often,
Yeah.
but I'm telling you what, man, and I'm not. I have no problem watching uh, Cannibal Holocaust. It doesn't it doesn't bother me like it bothers some people. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like a hey popcorn flick, let's throw in Cannibal Holocaust,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna not watch it because of those scenes in there.
Yeah.
And I'm not a tree hugger or anything like that. But I'm gonna tell you what, man, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I just by chance was not driving behind the car or truck, whatever, that
Yeah.
took this turtle out because this turtle was so freaking big. It
Yeah.
probably took a couple days just to get across the road.
Damn.
I mean, I'm sure I'm exaggerating to a point, but there's no reason on this planet why anyone
Yeah.
would hit something this big unless you wanted to hit it.
Yeah.
And what's really worse is it's like that night apparently they hit it again,
Oh.
and it had eggs.
Oh man, that's
I
messed up.
was so freaking upset, man. I was so freaking. I have no idea if it's just someone who was visiting someone in here, down in our area. I have a hard time wanting to believe that it was someone who lived down here because if you live down here, you got to be careful of the geese and you got to be careful. You just
Yeah.
got to be vigilant. You got to be paying attention. I mean, just because you've gotten off the main road and gotten into our little area doesn't mean,
Yeah.
you turn off your vigilance.
Yeah. Very true.
Geese make it, hard sometimes because if you're not paying attention, you start zooming down our
Mm.
road. I mean, the whole flock of them could be making their way across.
Yeah.
And yeah, somebody took out that turtle. I could not believe it. It was like, oh, I'm telling you, I probably would have been thrown in jail had I been behind that person.
Mm.
Which would have been kind of ironic since, I'm not like your greenest person in the world, but that would
Yeah.
have been too much for me to stomach. I couldn't have. I hope that person has nightmares for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Ah, see that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you'll probably do a bit of editing.
Yeah.
So when are we going to see the other three?
I'll probably get them up in the next maybe day and a half or so.
Sweet. Was Will serious about Saturday night?
I think so, as far as I know.
Saturday night's the nights that sometimes it gets called back in.
Uh, I think sometimes, but I think mainly he's been working on getting ready to move.
Oh, I didn't know.
So
I didn't
yeah,
realize he was moving.
yeah, he's going to like a new place or whatever. So they've been packing up stuff and everything, and I think it's been a lot of work. So
Oh, yeah,
that's
moving.
like that. That's what he was doing today. I know that. So I mean, when you get decent sized collections and everything, the last thing you want to put away is your movies. So yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
been
you
there,
keep
done
them
that.
out to the last second.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, man, when they've all been packed up.
Oh yeah,
It's fun reopening.
oh yeah, yeah. Then every now and then you'd look through and be like, oh wow, I forgot I had that movie.
That's yeah. There's been a few times where I've had to literally live off a shutter.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
any last few things before we close this out on H2?
no, that's pretty much it.
Well, hopefully we've said a few things that were uh, positive and hopefully not overly I don't know overly done, but yeah, it's too bad Neil couldn't have been on here. Maybe we could have convinced him to see this movie in a different light.
Yeah.
But
Well, who knows? Maybe he'll watch the episode.
so Halloween 2, Rob Zombie in black and white.
Yep.
Definitely, yeah, I do believe this is my preferred.
Yeah. It makes a big difference.
And even more than ever, we're gonna have to really start thinking: is this in your top 10 at the end of the year?
It'll be in my top 10 definitely. As to whether it be in top 5, I don't know, but it's definitely up there because it's I always just reckon if it changes the way I see a movie, you know, it goes up in my estimation. This kind of changed the way that I've seen Halloween 2, and it just kind of works.
Well, I know the thing from 11 is got to be seen before this year's out because I think that might be a game changer too.
Yeah, that is a definite game changer for that one.
All right, you're gonna close this out.
Yeah, okay. So, there you go, people. That was our Black and White Nights commentaries for Halloween 2. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.
Yeah.